Hello, hello. Well, I believe it was William Shakespeare who said that Blu-rays are like buses. You wait all week for one, then 10 turn up at once. William Shakespeare being a big Blu-ray fan. It's like a bit warm in here, so I'm going to take my Doctor Who scarf off. Excuse me, it's from Auntie Helen. So that's that one. God, I've got another one on underneath. I'll take this Doctor Who scarf off as well. There's two Doctor Who. Oh, there's a bit of cushion on my t-shirt, so I guess that's kind of three Doctor Who's. Oh well, it's a Doctor Who day. So, much briefer than yesterday. Yeah, excuse me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that have turned out in the last 24 hours. Christmas postie, who doesn't love it? It just sits in the sorting office for the best part of a week and then it all turns up. So we'll just get down to brass tacks. One of them isn't here. Within literally 2 hours of me getting it, Richard came up and borrowed it. That was Warner Archives Quick Change with Bill Murray, Gina Davis, Randy Quaid. Anything to do with clowns he watches. Bill Murray is a bank robbing clown. Yeah, so I owned that for literally 2 hours, and then he was away to watch it himself. So pretend that I'm holding that up right now. However, I've seen it. It's a great movie. Warner Archive. I'd imagine I've done a good release. I can't tell you because he's up the road watching it. However, let's go into what is here. Criterion. I don't know why I didn't pick this up sooner because I love everybody involved. It's, sexual liberation, addiction, comedy. It's got one of my favourite actors, and it's directed by a woman way back in the early 30s. Watch Mark Cousins' big box set on Women Make Film. Take you through the history of women filmmakers, and it'll blow your mind. Merrily We Go to Hell with Frederick March and Sylvia Sidney. Sylvia Sidney, you may recall, was in a film yesterday with Spencer Tracy that I had in the hall, Fury, and again, she's billed higher in this than Frederick March. She was a bigger star than Frederick March or Spencer Tracy. Ironically, both actors that played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were in, you can get them in a twofer. So she was obviously attracted to Jekyll and Hyde actors. But Sylvia Sidney went on to be, as I mentioned yesterday, the old lady in Beetlejuice 55 years later, who chain smoked when you go to the afterlife. She's your guide. So this is Merrily We Go to Hell. It's a pre-code comedy, so it means you can get away with a lot more than when the Hays Code was. I think the Hays Code might have come out by now, but it wasn't. Nobody really took it seriously for the first few years. They just kind of went, yeah, whatever. Bit like lockdown restrictions in England. So that's Criterion. Again, the usual from Criterion. It's just got a documentary about Dorothy Arzner, who directed it. It's got a new video essay by Carrie Buchon, new 4K restoration. So not much in the way of features. However, there's your booklet that's always in the shape of a bloody fold-out poster, which is you're sitting there reading a booklet like. But yeah, it's the film we're here for, isn't it? And if you liked their releases of things like the Philadelphia Story and Bringing a Baby, and those ones that have got similar kind of drawn covers like that, you'll like this. Trust me. Let's do HMV. Premium collection again, 2 for 15 at the moment. This one, a bit of nostalgia, because the first time I saw this, Sky Movies had it as a premiere, and that would have been the 90s, late 90s, and there was still quite a bit of missing footage which has now been recovered and restored. So this will be the first time that I've seen it without about 5 minutes of just stills with narration over the top of it. So I'm quite excited about that. It is Lost Horizon, with Ronald Coleman. He was in Shapes of Things, wasn't he? And Jane Wyatt. Of course, directed by Frank Capra, who, crikey, you know, It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, you know, just classic after classic. What am I thinking of? Cary Grant and his two old aunts, Arsenic and Old Lace. Where's the Bluray of that? Warner own that, but have they licensed that to Criterion? Because I want a Bluray of Arsenic and Old Lace. This has got restoration audio commentary. It doesn't say from who. Everybody here is dead, so, you know. Could be from me, I don't know. An alternate ending, restoration featurette with deleted scenes. So not only have we now got the complete film, we've got bloody deleted scenes. Photo documentary, which again includes the snaps that they used to kind of fill the gaps when there was missing footage. But being one of the older releases, it's still a dual format from the premium collection. The premium collection often just take Warner Archive titles and Paramount Presents titles, but then they add things like this, you know, a really nice booklet, which you don't get, which makes it, you know, really worthwhile, especially 2 for £15. You know, I mean, this is, you know, let's see, it's not got page number, oh, it does, sorry. Jane Wyatt. I mean, it's even got like key credits for all the people involved, you know. A discography for Frank Capra. Oh, Pocket Film Miracles, that came out from the BFI recently. I still need to pick that up. And then Restoring Shangri-La, so a thing about the restoration. And then, isn't that wonderful? A kind of shot of the whole cast and crew looking absolutely miserable, probably because they knew their film was going to be lost. So, when in doubt, if you have to choose between Warner Archive and HMV's premium collection, it's maybe worthwhile having a look at the premium collection, because they often come with, you know, just these little extras that make it worthwhile. 2 for £15, you know, in these lovely cases with nice silvery thingamajig. They are numbered, but don't be a completist. Buy films that you want. Don't collect numbers. Collect films that you love, or think you might love. So 2 for £15, so I needed another one. So I got one with 2 of my favourites. Is Target with Gene Hackman and Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon, I always love him in juvenile films, so Over the Edge, Rumblefish, The Outsiders, Drugstore Cowboy. And this is kind of his halfway house. He's still young. Gene Hackman's his dad here, and it's a crime film with Gene Hackman and Matt Dillon being a very distant father and son who have to, you know, you can kind of write a bit of the plot yourself, who find they may have to come together a bit closer, maybe learn something about each other along the way, but there's plenty of pow to keep you going. It's Gene Hackman in prime Gene Hackman gruff mode, which I always like, you know, his Lex Luthor, for example, you know, when Zod asks him, what do you want? My needs are small. Australia. I love Gene Hackman. I'm so sorry he retired so early. He was only in his early 60s. However, he left us with the Royal Tenenbaums, which is a hell of a way to go. He also did one called Welcome to Miss Polk 3 Romano, but we'll just pretend that doesn't happen. And once again, on this, it's directed by Arthur Penn as well, who of course did Bonnie and Clyde, as well as many other great films. So a lot of big man stuff. Nothing in the way of extras, it looks like. If there is, they ain't mentioned. But get again some nice postcards and That's a very Gene Hackman shot, isn't it? That could be Popeye Doyle from The French Connection. That could be his character in Mississippi Burning. You know, I love you, Dad. I love you, son. You know, no, it doesn't go like that. Ooh, bit raunchy. That's Matt certainly growing up. And then you get a poster of the. And what I like is they don't just give you the cover as the poster. So many poster. They give you the original kind of one sheet quad thing, which I think is pretty cool. So it began with his mother's kidnapping and ended with deadly intrigue. Target in cinemas now. A missed voiceover guy, whatever happened to him, probably died of lung cancer with a voice like that. But once more, if you're going to buy an edition, you may as well get a nice one for £7.50. No brainer. Let's do Warner Archive. So picked up quite a few of them recently. Here's one that I'll give a shout out to my good buddy Harold Gervais, who me and him talk movies more than just about. I can't think of an analogy, but we're talking about movies a lot. And he is a big fan, as am I, of The Last of Sheila, a wonderful murder mystery, which is written by the very recently departed great Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins of Norman Bates fame and Crimes of Passion fame. I love him in that as the priest, naughty priest. But this was based on Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins' love of making these massive mysteries for their friends to solve, the kind of things that eccentric millionaires do. They did, set up big treasure hunts that would roam the whole of New York City or an island or wherever it happened to be. And they decided, well, let's use those talents and make a murder mystery with The Last of Sheila. So they did. And as with all good whodunits, you get a good ensemble. So you've got Richard Benjamin, Den Cannon, James Coburn, Joan Hackett, James Mason. That's not my James Mason. Hollywood in the 1930s. James Mason. I'll work on it. Right, Ian McShane, good old Lovejoy, who's gone on to quite a career, hasn't he? And Deadwood and stuff. Game of Thrones, he was only in that for an episode, but and Raquel Welch, who she can be hit or miss, can't she? Sometimes she's just hired for her looks, but in The Last of Sheila, it works. Oh my goodness, one of my favourite, not just actresses of all time, because I don't like to just turn it to gender, but just one of my favourite performers of all time, the late great Barbara Stanwyck. Ooh. So this is one of her kind of earlier starring roles. It's a prison film, but from the women's point of view, with the redemption coming from the other side. So it's normally the man is being redeemed by the women. This kind of reverses that. So it plays around with gender roles, which Barbara Stanwyck did a lot in her career. She kind of fought for that. Ladies They Talk About, by the way, in case you didn't see the title. Barbara Stanwyck, obviously best known for things like Double Indemnity, but to me, her performance in The Furies, Anthony Mann's western from 1950, is one of the great performances in cinema. She's got a scene where they hang her, is he Navajo, certainly Native American lover, for daring to sleep with her white girl, and she delivers a speech and tells them exactly what she's going to do to them. And by God, if you're not scared of Barbara Stanwyck, if she was alive today, she would be the greatest villainess in any movies. She was wonderful. She was a great heroine as well, but she was just a wonderful, ambiguous or villainous character actor and leading lady. I miss her terribly, even though she died before I was born, I think. But I've fallen in love with her as I've become a cinephile in the last 25 odd years. One of my favourite actors and one of my he'll do actors, Jimmy Cagney, favourite, and George Raft. Yeah, he's alright. George Raft probably should have a film made about him, because quite famously the Mafia got him his career, and made sure that he got a bit like Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather. They kind of intervened for him and got him pushed quite a lot. But another prison film. Jimmy Cagney getting to be tough guy Jimmy Cagney, but he's I don't want to go into too many details, but he's kind of the fall guy in this, so he's embittered, but it's really two, tough guys facing off against each other, as you can probably tell by the picture. These old school pictures, I mean, look at it, I mean, God, look, why are they green? What were people thinking looking at poster art back in the day? But this one, unlike the last, stacked with extras. As always, Warner Archive they don't have the budget to make many new extras, so they tend to just port over what was available from the DVDs. But this has Warner Night of the Movies, which is great. You can actually just select that as an option and just watch it as if you were at the movies in 1939. So you get a documentary at the start, 5 minutes short, and then you get a Warner's cartoon. I don't know if it mentions what one it'll be here. Classic cartoon, A Day at Santa Anita. And then you get trailers as if you were in the cinema for coming soon. Trailers for it, and Wings of the Navy. Featurettes, The Language of Gangster Film, a commentary by a film historian, Hidden Guest, breakdowns of 1939, bonus cartoon, each dawn I crow, and bonus radio show with George Raft and Francois Tone. I love those old radio shows. I've got loads of the deluxe radio, presentations where they would condense a film down to maybe an hour. Criterion tends to include quite a lot of them, but they're wonderful, and they always get back to the stars, and sometimes you get a different star playing a major star's role. So you might get the role of that was played by Jimmy Stewart is this week going to be filled in by Cary Grant. You know what I mean? It's fascinating when you get into it. Last one before I let you go and have your tea. This one, and this is why I wanted to dedicate the video to Harold Gervais, because it's got he and I share a love of Kim Newman, the film critic, author, pop culture-ist, and sartorial gent. And Kim Newman does a commentary in this. Whenever anything is announced with Kim Newman on it, and he's on a lot of stuff, Harold and I will say, look what's just been released, and it's got a commentary on it, or it's got a Kim-terview, it's got a Kim-traduction. So, we're kind of sad that way, but, we love Kim Newman, we love movies. We love the movies that Kim Newman tends to love as well. And this is the story of Ricky-O, or the story of Ricky-O. This went out of print very fast and surprised, who was it? Was it 88? Yes, 88 films. Just how fast it sold out. But it shouldn't have, because everybody knows how insane this movie is if they follow Asian cinema. So a big deluxe edition of this was always going to sell out fast. It's the kind of thing bit your arse and going, because they'd love to have it. It's nuts. It is absolutely bonkers. Now it went out of print and was starting to go for scalpers prices on eBay. 30, 40. One guy had it at £80. You just think, piss off your chance. But HMV last week must have done a warehouse clearance to get their Christmas sale up and running, and they had it for $10.99. So not only did they put it back on sale, but when they had it originally it was £25, but they put it on at a sale price. They could have just put it back at 25 and sold it no problem, because people were already paying £30, £40 for it. but somebody must have messed up because they were selling it for $10.99. So I'd imagine a few scalpers picked it up. However, I just bought one for myself because I want a scalp. Unless it's my enemies. Being Z Deluxe, you get so as your original art. It came with that art as the normal one, but I flipped it because I think I mentioned in our last video, whenever I get two different bits of artwork, even if I prefer the new art, I always flip it just so you've got extra artwork. You know, two bits of art instead of one. It makes sense in my head at least. So this is, it's not very well highlighted there, but it is absolutely stacked with, see if we can get that through, focus in a bit, absolutely stacked with features. It's got a big poster, which, is it inside? Oh yes it is. So where's my poster? I'm so used to Arrow releases. New artwork in the Hong Kong poster, 40-page book with history of Hong Kong prison films, interview with legendary voiceover artist Simon Broad, 4 lobby cards, the English dub, new English dub, audio commentary with Frank Zheng, an audio commentary with Mick Leader and Arne Vermina, audio commentary with Kim Newman and Sean Hogan, and an audio commentary with Audie Sorley and Chris Ling. So 4 audio commentaries. Interview with Francois Wong, Hong Kong trailer, English trailer, and as I said, reversible sleeve. So there's your fancy Dan booklet. I better make sure there's nothing. Cage Fury was another name I went by, but you know, if I took my t-shirt off, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between me and this dude. But yeah, I mean, I'm always impressed by 88. I'm not always a big fan of the films because they tend to release some kind of Euro trash horror that I'm not particularly a big fan of, unless there's a character actor in it that I really like. But when I do buy one of their editions of one of their films, I genuinely think it's terrific. They put a lot of effort in, and I don't think they've got anywhere near the budget of an Arrow or a Eureka, but what they do with their budgets is fantastic. Okay, I'm not going to spoil too much, but I mean, here's an illustration of kind of how bizarre this film can be. You know? Got this bit, you know, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, but trust me, it's not that kind of movie. Let's have a quick look at your lobby cards and whatnot. Just make sure they're all suitable for. Yeah, so. And even the back's got nice design. Sorry, am I showing you that correctly? I'm always very ignorant. I kind of talk as if I'm just talking to myself rather than right at you. So I never really watch if the camera's even focused half the time. Right. Okay. You know. Yeah. So they can punch through walls like that. Again, I could do that if I wanted, but. And then, let's see, you'd imagine this would just be the 2 reversible covers that we had. No, I'm glad to be wrong. So we've got this one, which is mostly based on the new cover, the newly commissioned artwork. But then a 3rd piece of artwork, which I guess is the original Hong Kong poster. That is absolutely gorgeous. So again, these little things where they don't just say, okay, let's just throw that on the other side. They find another piece of artwork for the reversible poster and another piece of artwork for the cover of the booklet. They don't need to do that. It just shows commitment, passion, and respect for an audience who will come back if you treat them this way. If you show that you're as passionate about these films as they are. And it's one reason why we're also worried about Arrow at the moment, because since they've been taken over by the Hut Group, lots of corporate decisions are being made that are very much undercutting what we all consider to be Arrow's identity. However, so we'll still hit 25 minutes, even though there was a lot less to show than yesterday. But that's because I was able to talk a bit more in depth about each one. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you have some more hauls before the new year, if the postman can get them to you. And if not, remember, give him another chance, because the postman always rings twice. Thanks very much for watching. Give us a sub if you haven't. If you've already subbed, give us a comment, give us a like, share it with your friends, share it with your kids. Your kids would love Ricky O. Your kids would not love Ricky O. Well, they would, but you shouldn't be encouraging them to watch it. Well, maybe if they're 6 or 7, they'd be okay. Thanks very much again. I always waffle at the end. I can never find a way to just, succinctly engage, and end these things. I waffle. But that's part of the charm. Anyway, thanks very much. Stay safe. Enjoy what you've been watching. If you've got any recent pickups, any hauls, drop a link in, and I'll certainly have a look at yours too. And I'll follow you. If you give me a sub, I'll certainly give you a sub if you want to stick a comment in. And we can share what we're all into, because it's a wonderful life indeed. It's a wonderful time to be a boutique collector, because we are getting better treatment than people who buy the big movies. The big studio blockbusters get nothing. We get these amazing editions of relatively obscure films. Who's winning? We are. So, physical media is alive and kicking. You just have to look under the surface. Once again, I think this is the third time I've thanked you, but thank you very much for watching. See you soon, no doubt. The postman will be here again in a day or two with some more stuff. I don't think I'm waiting on too much now, but regardless, always a pleasure, never a chore. I'll go for a 4th one. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. If you have any comments, state them below. And once again, this goes out to my brother in Kim Newmanness, Harold Gervais. Love you all.